Hey guys, it is your girl Kristyn, and we are going to do some charting today. Basically, I'm going to show you what I do every morning before I trade. So this is necessary before you push the button, before you buy or sell or do anything in the stock market. You have to do your charting before you trade. Because I'm looking at futures, I'm going to be showing you what I do for futures. If you're going to be using this methodology for stocks, the only thing I want you to keep in mind is that for overnight session, you are not going to have Asia and London like we do in futures, because the stock market is closed for our regular stocks between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. for most of the brokers. So you're not going to have the full Asia London to be able to see it. So you're just going to want to do your pre-market high and low for your stocks. We are on the 30-minute time frame. I am going to begin by marking out the previous session's liquidity. So our overnight sessions, starting with Asia. And then we're going to do Asia, London, and then we will look for our high time frame PDRA. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through slowly what I do, and then if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and start with Asia. So we've got this little white box. I actually use an indicator for this box here, which marks my Asia time frame, so I can see it very easily with my eye, but at the same time it's not terribly ugly so that it distracts me throughout the day. So Asia low is here, so we want to mark Asia low. So let's go ahead and put that on our chart. Oops. So we have Asia low, and then we're going to mark London low. So London low, Asia low is basically everything from 1800 until your midnight candle is printed. We then have London, which for me, I'm going to chart everything from 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everything is going to be in New York time. You want to have your charts in New York time, regardless of what time frame you are trading from, because everything is New York based. Okay, so we're using Asia low and then London low. So if we looked at 2 a.m. and the time is at the bottom, so down here, if you just follow my cursor down, you can see the time at the bottom of the chart. So we've got 2 here. So actually, let's go ahead and do Asia high, because that one wasn't already taken. So we'll just drag that out. Or excuse me, London. I said Asia. This is London high. I'm typing with a band-aid on my finger, so I'm struggling just a little bit. But here's our 5 o'clock candle. So you can see here, London low was already taken. Okay. I'm going to put this on the bottom. All right. And then Asia high was here, but because Asia high was already taken as well, we're not going to throw that on here, but you want to do Asia high, Asia low, London high, London low, and then you can also do your New York high, New York low. You can chart your pre-market highs if you'd like. I don't do that. I just use the Asia, London, New York AM and New York PM, but whatever suits your fancy, you can do that as well. We're also going to chart the previous day's high. So as you can see, this is Friday trading that we're looking at. If you just, again, look at the cursor at the bottom. So we're coming over here. This is Thursday high. So you want to mark that as well. That will be a target. Okay, and let's put this on the top. And we're going to move that to the right so it's easy to see. All right, so we currently have our liquidities already marked. We don't have a previous day low, and right now the chart is bullish and my bias is bullish. So I'm going to explain to you why. So we're going to go up to the day time frame. Because we are charting daily, on a weekly basis, I actually will do my higher time frame PD arrays so that I have them. And I'm doing this on the weekend. So as you can see, the candle has already printed for the week. So this is going to kind of be a little bit hard. I've got the replay on so that when we're looking at the smaller time frame, you can't see this candle and what happened. But just so you guys can kind of get a feel for it, we had a daily bullish fair value gap. So my bias was bullish for the day using this daily fair value gap. And I've got all my different PD arrays here so that I don't really have to recreate them from scratch. So next we're just going to kind of walk down in time frame to look for additional PD arrays. So we're going to just start up high. I'm going to do a 12-hour fair value gap. I really like the 12-hour. I'll explain to you guys a little bit more about why I like the 12-hour at another time, but just know it's one of my favorites. I use it a lot. So we're going to go 12-hour, 4-hour. And as you can see on the 4-hour, there's a fair value gap right here in the same range as the 12. Because the 12 is a higher time frame, I'm just going to stick with that though. So you can draw that box, but for me, I'm just going to go with the higher time frame gap to make it simple. And then I like to use the 12, 4-hour, and the 1-hour. 1-hour, as you can see, has very similar ranges. So it has the same gap in the same location. So I think we're good here. I'm going to mark this as red for now because at the time of this trade, let me exit replay mode just so you can see. So at the time that I had it marked for, price was under this gap. So this was seen as resistance. Okay. But because this gap created this high here and this low, I want to see price get above this and retest it as support. Okay, so that is my bias for the day, or that was my bias for the day. Okay, so let's send this to the back. I like to send my PD arrays to the back because before the color was covering over this little candle bar like this, and I like the candle bars to sit on top. For some reason, it just makes it easier for my eyes, and I like the way I see the chart just really works nicely with my brain, but it's up to you however you want to do it, but it just makes it look a little bit cleaner to me. I'm going to send this one to the back as well. And then I think that's it. So if we go down in time frame, we're going to go back to that 15-minute time frame. And this is what price looks like. And this is starting at around 6:45, 7 a.m. Okay, so we've got our London high, London low. We've got our fair value gaps. The only other thing we need to chart is our order blocks. Now I'm going to do these separate. So we're going to do these one at a time. You know, we went through fair value gaps a moment ago. Order blocks, I think on 12-hour, we're going to leave that how it is. Let's go down to the 4-hour. So 4-hour, I have these series of candles. I'm going to take all of these candles as an order block, okay? So we're going to just grab all of these candles here. And we're going to mark that as a 4-hour order block. And I'm going to move price to the right. And we're going to make this red. We're going to make the border red. I like to do this because I feel like when I make them red, it makes it very easy for my brain to process what I need to do. Red is resistance, okay? So I've got the red order block, we've got the fair value gap, and we've got our Asia high and low. And again, just pretend like everything you saw or see in price was not there. We're going to go ahead and take this all back off the chart with replay. Going back to 7 a.m. because I want you to see this one candle at a time. We're going to walk through this one candle at a time, okay? We're also going to turn off this indicator. I've got one more indicator on here that I don't want to have, so let's turn that off. And I think that let's turn off the silver bullet as well. Okay. So this is my chart. Let's actually turn off all of these too. I got a couple candles on here. So something else we're going to do, we're going to chart our midnight candle. That indicator that I had, I will share that with you after. So if you want to have the indicator chart this for you, you don't have to do it yourself. I personally like having the indicators do this, so I don't have to. But if for some reason you cannot do it with the indicator, I want you to know how to do it yourself. So I think that that's important. And I think it's important for validation of the indicator, okay? So the next candle we're going to chart is our midnight candle. Midnight candle, I think personally, is your most important candle of the day. So this is midnight because it was printed at 0000. So we're going to use that candle, right? So let's go ahead and mark this. We're going to put the midnight on there, and let's put it on the top And let's take it to the right because midnight is important the whole day. For me, I like to use it all day. Okay, so here we go. So we've got midnight candle, Asia high, Asia low, London high, London low. We've talked about all of these. Price takes liquidity from the previous sessions to move and make its trades. Okay, so that session liquidity can be leveraged for your setups. You will notice and you will observe that this oftentimes is exactly what happens throughout the day. So because I have a bullish bias, I'm going to be looking for the liquidity to be taken at the low and to be used to take price higher. As you can see, we've already taken London low just after Asia. Okay, this is 6:15. Price came down here, took London low, immediately started setting up for upside. So if we push the play button, we're going to let these candles print one at a time. I'm going to actually move this down just a little bit so you can see. The playback is a little bit choppy, like the way that it prints. So you have to just take it with a grain of salt. This is not the best format to play back in TradingView. However, it works. There are other apps you can pay for where you can do the playback to be a little bit more like what actually happened. But as you can see right here, we got a news candle. So that was a really big move. The news candle still set up according to the bias, which I've seen this time and time again, and we can talk about this again later. Price has already gotten above the area that I was looking for it to inverse or gap over. Inverse basically just means to clear or get to the other side. And then we had this order block and we saw the same thing. Resistance has now become support. So once price took this liquidity, I was looking for price to retrace and come back into the range. And I was looking for this range here, this fair value gap, to act as support. Once we get above, I like to go back and change the color to green. Again, it's just one of those mental things for me, and it has helped me tremendously by doing this, making it green. This is just telling you that even though we're coming down here, we still should be able to get back over. So as you can see, price came right back and touched the area that I have as an area of interest. And from here, she went back up. Now, it was Friday, so we expect Friday to have a wick on the candle. So it's natural that it would go higher and then come back to kind of rest and trade within this area. Something else that we keep in mind when we're looking at targets, once the high time frame target is taken, I don't want to trade anymore for the day. However, there was a really nice retrace that was offered that I did take a little bit off of. However, this here, I would definitely consider to be low probability because that wouldn't be necessarily a target because it's already taken the objective of the week. This is Friday's trading, leveraging what we talked about and what happened pre-market. Again, as you can see, price had already taken Asia low, but returned back to snatch this liquidity from anybody who had already gotten into this trade, immediately traded higher, respecting the bullish order block here, and then created and finished the move that we had discussed. That was my bias for Friday. So everything played out as intended. Was a very beautiful day, beautiful trade, and I think that's pretty much it. So this is how I chart every day. I definitely, again, I wish I would have done this in advance or recorded this when I was actually doing my real charting so you guys can see it without those candles already being there. However, if you use this same methodology, it helps a lot to give you structure and to just kind of put the story together for what you expect, because the story does matter. Your bias does matter. The logic around why you think something is going to happen matters, because at the end of the day in the stock market, it's up or down. But if you can be able to create the logic and the storyline around why you expect something to happen, it will definitely increase your probability from 50-50 to being significantly higher, especially when you add all of this context that we have added into our logic for the day. So the last thing I want to show you guys are the indicators that I think would be really helpful to do a lot of this work that we talked about here. So firstly, I am going to share one that is called, let me see if I can find it here. So this is called our custom session opening prices. This will actually chart your midnight candle for you. So if we can see, I threw this line on here, so I'll go ahead and remove that now that we've got that. So here's the midnight candle here. And as you can see, the indicator charted that for us. 8:30 is similar to midnight. So as you can see, 8:30 printed. I didn't share that one with you because honestly, I really don't use it a lot. But 8:30 is great. It's very similar to midnight. I like to look at midnight as like a pivot. So when the midnight candle prints, price starts to move like a jump rope in my mind, right? So you've got this fractal here. It swings up, over, and down, hits this, does another swing, swings down, and immediately goes up. So it's like a jump rope building momentum, coming out of that consolidation for its breakout move to the upside. I love the midnight candle because the logic you want to use is if you're bullish, you want to buy below midnight. And if you're bearish, you want to buy above midnight. Very simple logic, but at the same time, it is going to give you additional context for your trades. The other indicator that I really, really like is our new week opening gap indicator. I've got actually two on my chart, but we're going to use this kryptonite one. So I do like this, and let me see if I can actually show you the information. So we'll do about the script. So here we go. So the weekly opening gap, and this is by kryptonite. So you may want to grab a quick screenshot if you want to get this. New week and new day opening gap is nice because it helps you to understand where that print was on the chart. New day and new week opening gaps are also used as like a true support or resistance. And if you, again, are using a similar logic to your midnight candle, you would like to buy below that because once price gets above, it often uses that as a support, and opposite for if you get below, it's going to use it as a resistance. So I really like those. They also have a really strong gravitational pull, or like a magnet, I should say, where price will often try to return back to them. So if we're trading towards an old new week opening gap, price is typically going to try to tap it if it can. So I always like to have those on my charts. Michael recommends that you keep at least the last 5 new week opening gaps. And for the new day opening gap, you want to keep the last 5 on your chart for the week. I like to do more, so I'm actually doing more now, but it's kind of up to you. And I definitely would say start watching it to see if you get comfortable with it and if you like it as well. The other thing I would probably throw out there is, I think I'm going to have to actually flip through a couple of these because I have a lot of indicators that I have that I will turn off and on, but I think it's the session liquidity here. Yes. So the session liquidity indicator, as you can see, charts your London highs and your London lows and your Asia highs and lows. Because it's the weekend, it gets kind of weird sometimes. So the Asia doesn't always show, but when the week is going on, it shows very nicely. I don't know why. It's like a quirk in this indicator, but I still love it. I still use this thing, and we'll keep it on my chart because it saves me a lot of time. So next, we are going to add this day Joshu indicator. So we're going to turn that one on as well. This one also gives you your true day or midnight candle, so you can pick between that one. But the additional things that it shows are kind of cool. So it'll show you your true week open, which you use just like your midnight candle, but you use it for your weekly candle. It will print your true month, your true year, all of those various candles so that you can use the same logic for the different time frames. And I absolutely love it. I use them religiously. They are so easy to use once you get the hang of it, but it gives you so much context. So I love them. It will take you some time to learn them. You have to definitely observe and just get the little nuances of them, but do not sleep on those candles. So awesome. And you'll just kind of peep here. It's showing true day open, which is the same as midnight. You can pick between the indicators which one you like, but just know if you pick the one that's called the Joshu day. So let me just show you the script. If you pick this one, day at Joshu, this particular one will give you, again, the true month, true year. So here you see true month, true day, true London, true week. Those are literally used with the same logic. Think of it like a jump rope. It's printed here. Price swings below, swings up, swings back under. So if you're bullish, you want to buy below. These are opportunities to buy. This is what we call a mitigation block. So price is literally returning to that block, collecting money to go higher. Okay, so you want to buy below true week if you are bullish. So I love having this on here because it just gives me additional context. And I think the last thing I want to show you is the silver bullet. Let me just make sure this one, I think this one, when the time change was kind of weird. So we're going to just use this one. Okay, so this silver bullet, let's get the name for you. It's silver, ICT silver bullet with signals by FIKIRA. Okay. And this person has created this indicator, which is nice because as you can see, we've got these times on here from 3 to 4 a.m. for the the London silver bullet. And then we have the 10 to 11 a.m. silver bullet here. And then we have the 2 to 3 p.m. silver bullet on the right over here. I'll talk about these a little bit later, not today, but we'll get into silver bullet at some point because this is something that I also trade with every single day. I absolutely love the silver bullet. It has helped me tremendously, and I definitely think this is something you want to learn as well. So if you don't want to wait for me, go ahead and do some YouTube searches and learn the silver bullet. It is fire. So I think that's kind of the bulk of the indicators I want to show you for now. Everything else I use is probably a little bit more advanced and may confuse you at this point if you're not already there. So we're going to table those for later. But I hope this video was helpful to just show you what I do every single day. Just to give you a really quick recap, you are going to want to chart your Asia high and low, your London high and low. You also are going to want to have your liquidity on there, especially for those targets. So for today, we use the previous day high. Depending on the day and where price is, it may be other things like previous week high, previous month high. It could be previous year high. Depending on where you are, you have to basically go through those time frames to find those targets to have on your chart. But at minimum, you do want to have your previous day highs and your previous day low, as that will have liquidity resting above and below. You also will definitely want to do New York PM session because we had already taken that liquidity. That wasn't an issue for today, but keep that in mind. That is additional liquidity that can be used. And I know this seems like a lot, but I promise you it isn't. But you just have to kind of start getting in the hang of all of these things so that you can grab that. After you get your liquidity, you want to do your fair value gaps. And I go through those time frames we talked about. You start high, so you're gonna want to go up. And for me, I look at all time frames. Because this is a day trade charting session that we're doing, I didn't have to go back to my higher time frames. But you definitely want to go look. You want to look at all of your high time frames. And I honestly go as high up as 12 months. 12 month, 9 months, 6 month, 3 month, 1 month. I'm going to be doing my weekly, my daily. And then just like we did today, we went through the 12-hour. That's one of my favorites. It's one of my money makers. We'll talk about that one later as well. The 4-hour, the 1 hour. And then you can also do your 15-minute for fair value gaps as well. Then you want to go through and look for your order blocks. Today we did the 12-hour, the 4-hour to keep it simple. 4-hour is great for day trading too. It's honestly probably my favorite time frame, and you can use the 15-minute for your entries if you are someone who is super busy like me. So with that, I think that's kind of it. That is the summary of what we reviewed today, as well as those indicators. I will try to put some references in the description box as well to some of Michael's videos that kind of talk through some of the things we talked about today. And like I said, if you guys have questions, do not hesitate to message me. I still got to get the Telegram set up for you, so I will get that information over to you guys as soon as I can, so we can start talking and you can start asking me questions as you go through this process. But I'm so excited. I'm glad you guys are still here with me. Can't wait for us to get some money together in 2025, and I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving and have a great close to your year. But I'm going to see y'all before the end of the year, okay? I got a whole bunch more videos I need to get out, so just stay tuned. We will be back as soon as I can.